The last 200 years have been the most productive in human history. Man rid himself of God, of hierarchy, of everything that gave him meaning, till he was left worshipping the empty altar of his own ambition. That is why they come. Men like you. You're quite right, Mr. Lockhart. No one ever leaves. What you fail to understand is that no one wants to.
I'm going to keep repeating how Marxists blame everything they see as bad on capitalism. Rape, robbery, murder, greed, the lack of empathy, domestic violence, and the list goes on. The list goes on to say that homophobia is caused by capitalism too. And even the innate desire to procreate and form union with the opposite sex, heterosexuality, is caused by capitalism. Yeah. Don't believe me?
Is romantic love a capitalist scam? Here's my analysis. The ancient Greeks had 7 words for love. Yes, 7. These words described romantic love, friendly love, family love, selfless love, flirtatious love, committed love, and self-love with different words. But if an alien came in from outer space and did a global media analysis, you would think that there was only one type of love, romantic love. This isn't that surprising considering the erotic is extremely powerful and people will always want to have sex. But in our society, romantic love takes precedent and is more important than other types of love. And we've been taught that the most important thing we can do with our adult lives is to find the one. But who is this really serving? Putting aside the fact that rom-coms have made $2 billion in the US alone in the past decade, romantic love is actually inextricably linked with capitalism. For hundreds of years, the ideal family life centered on the nuclear family. Social norms teach us to aspire to this and for our partner and our kids to meet every single one of our needs. This monogamous and heteropatriarchal.
They blame all things that they don't like on capitalism. We chase females, and females like getting chased because of capitalism, according to them. Like this dog is a capitalist. That's why he's following this female in heat around. But I just wanted to run through a couple of things that I feel people need to be aware of when you're listening to the communists, Marxists, socialists, and fascists. Like the cut down routine. And the cut down routine is them telling you that they know they're lying to you. They know nothing will decrease or even go away, but they have to have something to tell you while they're selling you their dystopian future. Rape, robbery, murder, greed. Getting rid of capitalism will cut down on some of it. They'll tell you that. No, getting rid of capitalism won't rid the whole place of corruption, but it'll cut down on some of it. No, greed, gluttony, and envy exist in all structures, capitalist, socialist, fascist, communist, no matter the time period either, and no matter the landmass. Landmass never mattered either. So if these things existed in whatever the structure is, capitalism or not, then where is it? Those things that progressives like to say was caused by capitalism. Where is it? I'll show you where it's at. Here we go, right here. It's encoded. That's how come it's innate and happens in every system of government. And guess what? The few, the powers that be, they know that too. They know it's innate, and they've been coming after it.
But some governments and corporations, for the first time in history, have the power to basically hack human beings. There is a lot of talk about hacking computers, hacking smartphones, hacking bank accounts, but the big story of our era is the ability to hack human beings. And by this I mean that if you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible. And in such a situation, the old democratic system stopped functioning. We need to reinvent democracy for this new era in which humans are now hackable animals. Surveillance, people could look back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings, to go under the skin, collect biometric data, analyze it, and understand people better than they understand themselves. This, I believe, is maybe the most important event of the 21st century. By hacking...
That's why they've been trying to get inside of people's bodies with what I call the cure and what other people call vaccines. They've been trying to get inside. They know where it's at. And one of the reasons I call it the cure instead of a vaccine is because the stuff that they're putting in people's bodies is what they see as a cure to the human problem, or a cure to the problem that they have with the human species.
I'm not the
You look even better.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting things we're working on, again, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using you can do early cancer detection with a blood test, and using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again using AI, in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
That man just told us that they want to get inside of our bodies because, like I said, they know where it's at. What they have a problem with, they know where it comes from, and it's not from capitalism. The Marxist movement is about control. They claim to not like being under control. But if control of people is the result of capitalism, then why do people in non-capitalistic governments have dictators ruling over them? Look, they're different people. And people are different because of that. People are on different levels in life, but Marxists, they seek for there to only be one level for everybody, which goes against nature. Again, they're against what's natural, and they're against what's nature. And it's no coincidence, aside from the exception, because there's usually an exception to everything, right? Usually. But aside from the exception, you won't hear God coming out of the mouth of any of these Marxist people. I've listened to a lot of these people. People of different backgrounds and walks of life. No matter the race, sex, age, economic status, or level of education, from the person with a GED, high school diploma, to the college professor, no God comes out of their mouths unless they're blaming religion on capitalism. Now imagine this. Part of their mission statement is to stop people from having more than other people. Imagine that. Imagine that, because it should let you know that what they're selling, their mission statement of equity, is bullshit and it's against nature. Because even watering your grass, some grass will soak up more water than other grass. Twins, while still in the womb, one will still get more nourishment than the other. So ask the questions. Is everybody or everything even supposed to get the same amount of whatever it is? Does the same amount of whatever it is or whoever it is require the same amount? Or does it require more? Or in other words, in order to give everybody the same, you'd have to make everybody the same. And that's the evil that they're into. Now, one of the words that we've been hearing a lot in recent years is the word equity, in diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. Equity is a Marxist word. Not their word like they invented it, but their word as in it's a big part of their platform. Now, let me give you a huge but small example of the horror in the equity that Marxists are thinking of. And never mind looking up the meaning of equity, Webster's, Cambridge, Oxford, and the others. Never mind looking up the definitions because Marxists don't think like you or me or the dictionaries think. Equity is just a word that they use to gather unsuspecting people into believing that what they desire is freedom from people, when really what they want is the enslavement of humanity. And of course, these Marxists, they don't consider that they'll be enslaved too. No, they just think it'll be everybody else. Just like Mao's Red Guard didn't consider that. The Red Guard are the citizens that Mao used to put himself into power. And once he got himself into that power, he had them killed. Either outright execution or they were sent off to labor camps and they died there. And just like other dictators have done, Castro, he did it, and others like Hitler, who did what was called the Night of the Long Knives, where he had the people executed that helped him get into power. These progressives, they don't consider that history. The powers that be, the few, they know that these progressives are dangerous and are only going to use these Marxists just long enough. Then it'll be the night of the long knives for them too. But let me give you this example of equity that might sound small to you, but I'm telling you it's huge. And while I'm talking, never mind basketball. Pay attention to basketball and you'll lose the point. Think about a society. Think about society, not basketball.
U.S. women's basketball star Brittany Griner has gone on trial in Russia for alleged drug charges. She's been held there since February. Griner declined to enter a plea on Friday, but said she may do so at a later date.
The U.S. State Department has said the two-time Olympic gold medalist has been wrongfully detained and has vowed to do everything possible to secure her release.
Remember that story? Lady thought that she was going to be able to smoke a little something while she was out of town. Equity. And remember the outcry was, well, she had to go overseas to play basketball during the off season because women don't make as much as the men in basketball. Remember that? And there was a small push demanding that the NBA pay female players more money. Now, the push wasn't very loud. It didn't go far, but still, remember that? Listen. Fuck everything about that because nothing at all is right about it. There's nothing right about that because first off, females outnumber males. So when there are more females than males, then that says that females are not into basketball like that, so they don't support it. If females were into basketball, the females will be making more money than the males are. But equity don't care about that, nor does it care about what you want or don't want. Females are not into basketball, but equity says, so what? And remember, never mind basketball. Don't pay no attention to that. Look at society. Equity says that you are no different than the next person. Never mind your talent or lack thereof. Never mind your ability. Never mind your character or behaviors that can get you things or cause you to lose things. Equity says that you're not an individual and you belong to the hive. So never mind who you are as a person. Now let me give you another example. And I first heard this on the radio back in the day. Jim Rohn was talking about it. And I think this was in like 99, 2000, I think. And I gave this example of something before, about 6 years ago. I forget why I used it. I don't know, but I do know that it wasn't for the same reason I'm going to use it today.
In 1998, Nikisha Sales broke UConn's career scoring record in a cast. She suffered a career-ending injury in a game against Notre Dame her senior year, which left her literally 1 point behind Carrie Bascom's record of 2,177 career points. With the permission of Carrie and the Big East commissioner, UConn and Villanova traded layups at the beginning of the next game to give Nikisha the record. It doesn't really matter now that Maya Moore has shattered the record with 3,000 points, but this caused a huge uproar in the media at the time. Nowadays, a lot of people are concerned about stat padding, but I think this was just a nice display of sportsmanship to help a senior cap off a career that was cut a bit short.
That is despicable. The horror of Marxist equity. Imagine Carrie Bascom, who did all that work only to have it given away to somebody who didn't earn it. Equity says it doesn't matter who or what you are as a person. And like I said, never mind basketball. Get that out of your head because you'll miss the point. Equity is opposed to nature and opposed to what's normal and opposed to what's natural. By way of equity, Marxist seeks to remove the things that motivate you. They seek to suppress people's ambitions, and character is the enemy in their sight. Being an individual stands in the way of their end game. End game being population reduction and the enslavement of the remaining people. Your success or lack of success, they don't want that to be determined by you. In the choices you make, they want it to determine that. It being the few, or the system of government to be the determining factor in where you end up, like with Nikisha Sales.
Do you know what the cure for the human condition is? Disease. Because only then is there hope for a cure.